Closed-mindedness really seems to be like a bash now. If you're closed-minded, that's an insult to most people. And we see more and more people are getting more open-minded and more open-minded. And I just wanted to touch on the word gullible for a minute, because I used to be called gullible all the time when I was young, even into adulthood. That little trick to where like, hey, gullible's written on the ceiling.
Hey, gullible's written on the ceiling, really it is.
I'd look, and I'd look again, and I'd always look most of the times with that joke. Even time and time again, I thought like, well, maybe it's actually fucking up there this time because somebody's making a joke, and now that I'm not going to look, they're going to be like, oh no, it's really up there, and then I'll look, and then it's going to be up there. You know what I mean? There was a few other tricks that really stick out in my memory, like, oh, you dropped your sleeve, or your flip-flop's untied, and you're like, oh shit. But then you're wearing a flip-flop and you don't have shoes on. I wanted to bring Buddha into the video. He's my favorite little Buddha. I got another one in the bathroom and he's cute too. They're both my favorites. They're all my favorites. I love Buddha. So I'm really gullible as a young girl. Gullible, to me, means that you're open-minded. It means that you're open to possibility happening. That you're open to things that may not be obvious. This is a good thing. Being open-minded, being open to possibility, being open to things that maybe you had never heard of 10 seconds ago. And gullibleness,
gullibleism, gullibleness, gullible people.
Being gullible can have it. There is a downfall there, because here I am, super gullible as a little girl, and then once I get into adulthood, ready to hop into relationships, I'm gullible in the relationship, and I stay in relationships that might not be good for me by decision, by being gullible to think like, oh, they'll change. Oh, he wasn't mad at me. He was mad at the guy at the store, and then he just came home and he just yelled at me, and it wasn't me. It wasn't me at all. It was the guy at the store. Like, he's changing. He told me that he's changing. He told me that he loves me. And then on to the next guy, and then it's the story of like, oh, but he told me he's leaving her. But he told me that he was moving out. But he told me that we would be together. And then I move on to relationships after relationships, and then it leads into even bigger gullible things like,
You know, sure, when I walked in on them in the bedroom, they were just sleeping. That's what he said. I believe him.
yeah, that's the story I'm going to tell myself, is that they were sleeping and he was being a good friend. So, this obviously is not good, and this will lead into other things in life to where maybe you're going to get stepped on and trampled over and keep learning the same lesson or being given the same lesson over and over and over and over again until you finally fucking realize one thing. And this is where gullibleness takes a turn into something that is awesome. Are you ready? You've heard the word before. You're going to hear it again, is awareness. And the difference between just being gullible to everything and awareness is, if I were to have been more aware in those relationships, I would have not only taken what the word was, what their words said, what I was hearing, but what I was seeing, the patterns that kept happening over and over. I would see the patterns and I would make the connections, and I'd be like, oh, he gets angry and takes it out on me, even if he's not angry at me, and that doesn't make me feel very good. So, wow, I have not felt good for the last 2 years. Sure, I love him, but now that I am aware, this is not effective for the type of relationship that I imagine myself being in. I don't imagine this. This doesn't feel right. It feels yucky. It doesn't align. So if I were to have that awareness in those relationships, I don't believe that I would have went through relationship after relationship of getting taught the same lesson of, hey, listen, sure, you're hearing these things and they sound great, but what are you seeing? What patterns are showing up? And what are you feeling? How am I feeling in these relationships? Does it feel right? Does it feel good? Am I in tune with my body? Am I in tune with the energies that are pouring out of me? Am I in tune with the energies that are being directed towards me? Without awareness, we cannot be in touch with our bodies. It just, most people are looking outwardly to try to see how the physical world is causing them all their problems, and blaming and projecting and not feeling. And when we have gullibleness with awareness or self-awareness, this opens you up to the fact that miracles can happen, to the fact that magic exists in the world. This opens you up to experience things you may not have experienced before. And maybe that doesn't sound good to you, but I believe that anything is only possible if we believe that anything is possible. And if I am shutting myself off from being gullible, being aware, being open to possibility, if I'm shutting myself off from possibility, then nothing is possible. If I'm putting on these blinders and saying like, nope, I am not going to see these things that I don't like to see. I am not going to feel these things that I don't like to feel. I am not going to believe these things that may not come true, and I might get disappointed. And I'm not going to try these things that I don't think I'm capable of, because I might fail and that might hurt. And then it begins. And then we keep going through these motions and not taking risks, living the life we want to live because we're scared to fail, and our mind's not open to the possibility that there's a bigger plan happening here. This was my little rant on gullibleness. And gullibleness is not something to shame somebody for. It is something beautiful, and it is something that if tweaked and if added with this pillar of awareness can change somebody's whole life. It can change somebody's diagnosis. It can change somebody's relationship. It can have somebody leave. It can change somebody's financial situation. This fucking thing of possibility can change the world. And if we always believe that there's possibility, if we always have hope, then we will always take another step forward. And if we always take another step forward, we are always going to go places. We won't be stuck on the couch at home, upset because we're 60 years old and lonely, or 40 years old with cancer, or 28 years old and not healthy. I believe the diagnosis that the doctors gave me, bounding me for the rest of my life, that was only a fraction of my life. And I believe that within possibility are the cures. Thank you for watching. I love you all.